Hey everybody, it's me, Remy, the comic book poser, and I'm here to welcome you to Enter the Poserverse. After a light week in terms of number of comics and number of publishers that had stuff come out on July the 1st, this week is huge. There are big titles coming out from all of the different publishers. There are a couple that I am definitely hopping in on and riding the bus. There are a couple that I didn't pick up a ticket, and my interest is going to be real low, or it's going to be some stuff I wait until it hits trade. So as always, we'll see which books make the list.
Hey! The champ is telling you to do something. All right, you know what? You know what? You know what just happened? Because you didn't do what he said? You know what? You know what? You just made the list!
There are two books from Aftershock that I'm planning on picking up this week. Number one is Join the Future number 3. This is written by Zach Kaplan with art by Peter Kowalski. And Join the Future number 2 a couple weeks ago was my pick of the week. That I think that we are about to see everything kind of hit the fan in terms of why there's pushback against the large city of the future. We saw the massive terraforming machines pop up towards the end of book 2, and I think now that we have our main character who was found in the woods by the wandering trader, that's going to set us up for maybe some additional through information in terms of the conflict between the small town and the future. Second book is Something's Killing the Children number 8 by James Tinian with art by Valderia and colors by Mikel Muerto. This book is hot. I've loved Something is Killing the Children from its inception. We're gonna see if Erica's plan to trap the small children monsters is going to be acted on, or if they have to come up with a new scheme. We're also gonna see if the man who is sent to kind of take Erica down is successful, what he does there, and really what tactically goes down in terms of the struggle within the members of the House of Slaughter. AWA has 2 books coming out this week. Number 1 is Archangel 8 number 3 by Michael Morici with art by C.P. Smith and Snakebite Cortez. And I say it every time, Snakebite Cortez I think is one of the dopest names. Snakebite Cortez is the Wolf Blitzer of the art and comics community. The second AWA book that's coming out this week is Old Haunts number 2 by Ollie Masters, Rob Williams, Lawrence Campbell, and Lee Lowridge. And I'll be honest, Old Haunts number 1 is still sitting on my stack of things to play catch up on. So I'll pair 1 and 2 together and play a lovely game of catch-up. From Boom this week, there's only one book that I'm picking up, and I'm really, really excited for it. It's Alienated number 4 by Simon Spurrier, who I think is one of the most underrated writing talents, with art by Chris Wildgoose. My love-dislike relationship with Alienated is something that has kind of radically shifted. That book 1 I was very cold on. Book 2 was good enough for me to justify buying the 3rd issue, and issue 3 for me was make or break, and issue number 3 was fantastic. That I'm interested in seeing if we will see the interaction between each of the kids named Sam and the alien in terms of how it empowers them, or if they can handle their newfound power as responsibly as Samantha did. DC's got 6 books coming out this week that I'm interested in. Number 1 is Batman 94 by James Tinian with art by Gilliam March. I want to see what happens now that we've had the big reveal of the designer and how things continue to march forward in the path towards the Joker War. The second one that comes out is Dead Planet number 1. This is Tom Taylor with Trevor Hairsnine on art. There are 2 covers that I'm interested in. The standard A cover, which I will put up right here, is $4.99, and then the variant covers B and C are $1 extra. They're all interesting looking covers. This is the next iteration of the Deceased storyline. I know between now and Wednesday, I'm going to try and read all of the digital Deceased content that has come out over the last couple of weeks, because I'm kind of excited to dive into the next chapter of this event at the ground level, since I've been playing catch up ever since Unkillables came out. The next DC book is Flash 757 by Joshua Williamson. with art by Jordi Targova and Rafa Sandoval. This is the second book in the post-Paradox arc, so we're going to see how well the differing factions potentially come together. We'll see if Flash is right in potentially being able to see what Reverse Flash's strategic plan is for the next clash between the two groups. But I've been in love with this Flash run. The next one is Green Lantern number 6 by Grant Morrison and Liam Sharp. I want to know what happens after the crazy giant planet of gold babies that played with Flash and Green Lantern, in the same way that my kids play with their action figures and just smash them together. I want to see where it goes after that one, because that story was nuts. The next one is Justice League number 48. This one is written by Simon Spurrier, which is different from who's been writing the stories up to this point. I think it's been Vendetti. So in doing a little bit of Googling, Spurrier is writing the next 3 issues for kind of a mini arc or a mini event, and the artist on the title is Hermanico. Probably the DC book that I'm the most excited about this week is Lois Lane number 12, written by Greg Rucka and Mike Perkins. This is the final book in the 12-issue maxi. This story has been so good. It's been interesting to kind of watch the relational dynamics between Montoya and Lois Lane, watching the power dynamic or the respect dynamic between Superman and Lois Lane play their way out in this title. Last week, the last Friday in June, on Comics and Beer with Bruce and Stephanie, it was their big end of the month giveaway, and it was all Lois Lane and Greg Rucka themed information, and their interview with Greg Rucka in terms of the book process surrounding the characters, his thoughts on everything, and the potential for the future is really good. I'll either put a link up in the info cards here in the top, or if I can't do that, then I'll throw it down in the description, because that interview was just really, really cool to watch play its way out. From Dynamite, there's one comic that I'm gonna plan on picking up this week, The Death of Nancy Drew number 2. I initially didn't pick up number 1 until I heard Chris on Lost in Comics kind of talk about how good the story was. Then I started looking at some folks' reactions on Twitter and a couple other YouTube channels, and it seemed to be a pretty interesting kind of tale. So I picked up number 1, and really excited to see what unfolds in number 2. It's weird for me this week to say that I'm picking up no books from Image. I didn't read Adventure Man number 1, and none of the other ongoing titles this week are anything that I've read, or I think things that have seemed super appealing to me. That last week was my Image heavy week in terms of most of the ongoings came out on the 1st. I've been thinking about picking up Bitterroot, especially after that dope-ass Purple Rain variant cover. So those of you who have seen a lot of my videos, if you think Bitterroot is something that I would enjoy getting into, then let me know in the comments down below. The next one is Mad Cave Studios. There's one title coming out this week that I'm interested in, and it's Battle Cats Tales of Valderia number 4. I loved Battle Cats that I picked both of the volumes of trades in, the beginning of June. And it's just a really fun story, and what's going on in the Tales of Alderia book is kind of the origin story of what is happening with the Battle Cats. It's written by Ben Goldsmith with art by Adaguan Ilhan. It's a cool book from a cool publisher that I think Mad Cave, especially with some of their books that are dropping in August and September, y'all should be reading more Mad Cave, because the art is hot. The writing is really, really cool. The tales are super unique, and you should get behind them and check some of them out. They still have a bunch of their number 1s for free up on their website. I think it's madcavestudios.com. Marvel, there are 3 books that I'm interested in this week. The first is Doctor Strange Surgeon Supreme number 5 by Mark Waid and Kev Walker. This story has been kind of cool because people are stealing artifacts or cursing artifacts, and Doctor Strange is having to think both as a surgeon and mystical powers that he has to deal with the repercussions of the curses or other things that spread in kind of his time reality bending way as well. So it's pretty cool. The second one that's coming out this week is X-Force number 10 by Benjamin Percy with art by Joshua Cassara and Guru EFX. I've been really enjoying what's happening in X-Force. I have just fallen in love with Ben Percy across the last month and a half, reading a lot of different things that Percy has had his hands on, and X-Force is just something good that I want to hop in on here. The book that I'm probably the most excited about is X-Men God Loves, Man Kills number 1 is coming out this week. And it's the classic Chris Claremont and Brent Anderson story. The story is the same, but there are, I believe, new art pages, and they have changed the art setup on some of the original pages from the storyline. So number 1 comes out this week, and I think part 2 comes out in 2 weeks. But this is a reprint that I'm excited about. From Scout Comics, there are 2 books you should pick up this week. Number 1 is Everglade Angels number 1 by Blake Northcutt, Scott Lobdell, and Rock Upchurch. Some of you might already have this book. If you subscribe to the Scout Comics box, it was in there. Comic Tom Mystery Mail Call. Then Everglade Angels was one of the potential books that you could get the variant cover for this week. I read the book on Saturday night, and I think it's really good. You essentially have like a girls softball team, girls baseball team who wins their like next to last baseball game before they go to the championship because they were ahead in score before a fight broke out, and they decide to drive to Miami to the night or 2 before the championship game, and they go off the beaten path and like gas mask wearing cultists